The horizon's edge. The vast emptiness of deep space stretched before the RSS horizon, a gleaming testament to human engineering and exploration. Captain Dominic Reyes stood on the bridge, his weathered hands clasped behind his back, eyes fixed on the holographic display that mapped the unknown regions of the Andromeda sector. Lieutenant Kira Nomura, the ship's chief communications officer, broke the silence. "Captain, we're picking up an unusual quantum signature at the edge of our scanner range." Dominic's sharp green eyes narrowed. The Horizon was no ordinary exploration vessel. Equipped with the latest in adaptive quantum technologies, it represented humanity's most advanced deep space probe. "Magnify," he commanded, his voice calm but alert. The holographic display shifted, revealing a massive crystalline structure that seemed to pulse with an alien energy. Unlike any known spacecraft, it defied conventional understanding of spaceship design. Its surface rippled with geometric patterns that seemed to change with each passing moment. "Preliminary scans indicate it's not a natural formation," Lieutenant Marcus Wung, the science officer, reported. His fingers danced across the quantum interface, pulling up layers of data. "The molecular structure suggests advanced technological origin, definitely artificial but nothing like our current understanding of spacecraft design." Before anyone could respond, a sharp burst of energy erupted from the crystalline structure. The ship's quantum shields flared to life, a shimmering blue-white barrier that absorbed the incoming energy with remarkable efficiency. "Incoming transmission," Kira announced, her fingers working the communication array. "It's different, not radio waves, not quantum communication, something entirely new." A holographic representation materialized on the bridge. A being composed of intersecting geometric shapes and pulsing energy formed what could only be described as a face. When it spoke, the words seemed to bypass traditional audio channels, forming directly in the minds of the crew. "Territorial expansion unit of the Krell Collective," the entity proclaimed. Its voice carried a metallic resonance that vibrated through their consciousness. "You have entered restricted space. Prepare for immediate extraction or neutralization." Captain Reyes stood completely still, a slight smile playing on his lips. The Horizon's crew exchanged knowing glances. They had been prepared for this moment. "This is Captain Dominic Reyes of the research spacecraft Horizon," he responded, his tone measured and calm. "We come in peace and with no intention of territorial violation. We are explorers, seekers of knowledge." The geometric being seemed to pause, its shape fluctuating. "Peaceful intent is irrelevant. The Krell Collective recognizes only absolute territorial sovereignty." Lieutenant Wung leaned towards the captain, whispering, "Their communication matrix is fascinating. It's simultaneously a language, a weapon, and a computational system." Dominic nodded almost imperceptibly. The Horizon wasn't just a ship. It was a living testament to human adaptability and technological innovation. Its quantum core could reconfigure itself faster than any known alien technology could predict or counter. "We request dialogue," Dominic continued. "Our mission is exploration and understanding. We have no territorial ambitions." The geometric being's form flickered. For a moment, something almost like confusion passed through its crystalline structure. Humans were an anomaly in their database. Most species encountered would have either immediately surrendered or launched an aggressive counterattack. What happened next would become a legendary moment in human interstellar exploration. Lieutenant Kira Nomura activated a specialized communication protocol. A burst of complex quantum algorithms erupted from the Horizon, not as a weapon, but as a language, a bridge of understanding that translated human intent, scientific curiosity, and peaceful exploration into a format the Krell Collective could comprehend. The crystalline entity froze. Humanity had just spoken a language of peace that transcended traditional communication, using technology as a universal translator of intent and emotion. Technological ingenuity. The research and development laboratory aboard the Horizon hummed with an electric intensity. Dr. Elena Rodriguez leaned over a holographic display, her fingers tracing complex quantum algorithms that danced like living organisms. Behind her, a team of engineers and scientists worked with a focused determination that bordered on collective inspiration. "The Krell communication matrix is unlike anything we've encountered," Alina muttered, more to herself than to her team. The incident with the crystalline entity had triggered an unprecedented burst of human creativity. What had started as a potential conflict was now transforming into the most significant technological challenge humanity had ever faced. Lieutenant Marcus Wung entered the lab, a data crystal in hand. "The quantum linguistic algorithms Kira developed during the first contact are showing remarkable adaptability," he reported. "We're essentially creating a real-time translation system that goes beyond language. It's a complete cultural interpretation matrix." Alina's eyes lit up. The human capacity for rapid innovation was their greatest weapon. Where other species might have responded with fear or aggression, humanity saw an opportunity for understanding. "We're not just translating words," she explained to the team. "We're creating a dynamic communication protocol that can adapt to entirely alien thought processes. Look here." The holographic display shifted, showing how their algorithm could reinterpret complex geometric communication patterns into comprehensible concepts. Meanwhile, on the bridge, Captain Dominic Reyes received an unexpected transmission. The Krell Collective had not attacked. Instead, they had sent what appeared to be a complex data packet, a challenge, or perhaps an invitation. "Marcus, Alina, get up here," Dominic called through the ship's communication system. "We've got something that requires your immediate attention." The bridge was tense with anticipation. The holographic display showed an intricate geometric pattern that seemed to pulse and shift, defying conventional visual understanding. Lieutenant Kira Nomura worked frantically at her station, the quantum communication interface responding to her touch like a living organism. "It's a test," Marcus concluded after careful analysis. "They're probing our technological capabilities, but it's more than that. It's almost like an invitation to a technological dialogue." Alina's fingers flew across a secondary interface. "Look at the pattern. It's not just a message, it's a computational challenge. They're testing our ability to process complex, multi-dimensional information." Captain Reyes watched with a mixture of pride and fascination. Humanity's strength had never been in raw military power, but in adaptability, creativity, and an insatiable desire to understand. Within hours, the Horizons team had not only deciphered the Krell's complex communication, but had begun to develop a responsive algorithm that could engage in a form of technological conversation. It was like learning to speak a language that existed simultaneously in multiple dimensions. "They're expecting us to fail," Kira said, a competitive edge in her voice. "Traditional species would be overwhelmed by the complexity of their communication matrix." But humanity was anything but traditional. The response they crafted was elegant in its simplicity and breathtaking in its complexity. Using quantum entanglement principles, adaptive machine learning, and a touch of what could only be described as human intuition, they created a communication bridge that was more than a translation. It was a mutual understanding. As the response transmitted, the Krell's crystalline vessel seemed to pause. For the first time in their recorded history, something had surprised them. Captain Reyes allowed himself a small smile. "We're not here to conquer," he muttered, watching the data streams. "We're here to understand." The Horizon continued its journey, but something had fundamentally changed. This was no longer just an exploration mission. It was the beginning of a potential revolution in interstellar communication and understanding. The diplomatic gambit. The quantum conference chamber aboard the Horizon shimmered with holographic projections, transforming the space into a neutral meeting ground that defied traditional concepts of diplomatic negotiations. Captain Dominic Reyes stood at the center, surrounded by his core team, Dr. Alina Rodriguez, Lieutenant Marcus Wung, and Kira Nomura. Opposite them, the Krell Collective's representatives materialized, not as physical beings, but as intricate geometric constructs of light and energy. The communication breakthrough they had achieved was about to be tested in its most challenging form, direct diplomatic interaction. "We recognize your unique approach to communication," the primary Krell representative began, its form pulsing with complex patterns that translated directly into thought and emotion. "Most species approach us with fear or aggression. You have demonstrated something different." Dr. Alina Rodriguez stepped forward. Her background in xenolinguistics and quantum communication had been crucial in developing their current approach. "Difference is not a weakness," she responded, carefully selecting each word. "It is an opportunity for mutual understanding." The Horizon's diplomatic strategy was unlike any previous interstellar encounter. They weren't presenting themselves as conquerors or supplicants, but as genuine partners in a vast, complex universe. The Krell Collective had encountered numerous spacefaring civilizations, but humanity presented a puzzle they couldn't immediately categorize. Lieutenant Marcus Wung activated a holographic display showing humanity's approach to technological and cultural development. It wasn't a linear progression of conquest, but a complex web of collaborative innovation, cultural exchange, and continuous learning. The display showed how human societies had repeatedly transformed themselves through understanding and cooperation. "Your historical data suggests a pattern of continuous adaptation," the Krell representative observed. Its geometric form shifted, reflecting a form of digital contemplation. "Most species reach a technological plateau and stagnate. You seem to generate progress from conflict, diversity, and mutual understanding." Kira Nomura introduced their proposal, a framework for technological and cultural exchange that went beyond traditional diplomatic protocols. It wasn't just about sharing technology, but about creating a dynamic system of mutual growth and understanding. The proposal was breathtaking in its complexity. Instead of a static exchange of information, they suggested a living, evolving network of knowledge transfer. Quantum communication protocols would allow for real-time cultural and technological learning, with built-in safeguards to prevent potential misuse. "We do not seek to conquer or compete," Captain Reyes explained. "We seek to understand and grow together." The Krell Collective's representatives seemed to pause, a digital equivalent of taking a deep breath. Humanity was presenting something entirely outside their previous interstellar encounters. They were not offering a treaty, but proposing a fundamentally new way of existing in the universe. As the negotiations continued, it became clear that this was more than a diplomatic meeting. It was a potential turning point in interstellar relations. The Horizon's crew wasn't just representing humanity, they were demonstrating a new model of interspecies interaction. The geometric forms of the Krell representatives began to subtly change, reflecting a complex emotional state that went beyond simple acceptance or rejection. They were processing, learning, understanding. "Your proposal challenges our entire conceptual framework," the primary representative finally communicated, "which makes it intriguing." Outside the conference chamber, the Horizon continued its journey through the vast darkness of space. But something fundamental had changed. This was no longer just a mission of exploration. It was a mission of transformation. Quantum leap. The research bay of the Horizon had transformed into a collaborative workspace that defied traditional scientific boundaries. Dr. Alina Rodriguez stood at the center of a holographic environment where human and Krell technologies intertwined in a complex dance of innovation. "The quantum resonance potential is extraordinary," Alina muttered, her hands manipulating three-dimensional projections that seemed to breathe with living energy. Surrounding her were members of both the human crew and Krell representatives, not physically present, but connected through an advanced quantum communication matrix. Lieutenant Marcus Wung approached, carrying a prototype that represented the pinnacle of their collaborative efforts. It was a communication device that went beyond traditional technology, a living bridge between two fundamentally different forms of intelligence. The device looked like nothing humanity or the Krell Collective had ever seen before. Its surface shifted between solid and translucent states, embedded with quantum processors that could adapt in real time to complex communication challenges. What had begun as a potential conflict was now a remarkable journey of mutual discovery. Quantum entanglement isn't just a communication method, Marcus explained to the gathered team. It's a way of fundamentally understanding connection. We're not just sharing information, we're creating a shared consciousness. Captain Dominic Reyes watched from the observation deck, marvel evident in his eyes. The mission had evolved far beyond its original exploratory mandate. They were rewriting the rules of interstellar interaction. Suddenly, the quantum communication matrix flickered. A transmission came through, not from the Krell Collective, but from an unexpected source. Deep space scanners had detected an anomaly that challenged everything they understood about galactic communication. Captain, Lieutenant Kira Nomura called out, her voice a mixture of excitement and caution. We're receiving a signal. It's complex, unlike anything in our database. The holographic display erupted with a cascade of geometric patterns that made the Krell communication look simplistic by comparison. It was a message, but more than a message. It was a living, breathing piece of information that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. It appears to be a response, the primary Krell representative communicated, its geometric form pulsing with intense energy. But not from us. Dr. Elena Rodriguez's fingers danced across the quantum interface. It's a communication from something else, something that exists between the spaces we understand. The quantum communication protocols we've developed with the Krell are the only reason we can even perceive this transmission. The message was an invitation, or perhaps a challenge. It suggested the existence of a communication network far more complex than anything humanity or the Krell Collective had imagined. A network that existed beyond traditional concepts of space, time, and consciousness. We're not just exploring space anymore, Captain Reyes said quietly, more to himself than to anyone else. We're exploring the very fabric of communication and understanding. The horizon continued its journey, but now with a profound sense of purpose. They were no longer just observers or explorers. They were becoming architects of a new way of existing in the universe. The quantum device at the center of the research bay pulsed with a soft, rhythmic light, a beacon of potential, of connection, of endless possibility. Echoes of understanding. The horizon hung suspended in a region of space that defied conventional understanding. Around them, the fabric of reality seemed to ripple and shift, a living testament to the quantum breakthrough they had achieved with the Krell Collective. Captain Dominic Reyes stood at the center of the bridge, watching as the mysterious transmission they had received continued to unfold. It was no longer just a message, it had become a living dialogue that transcended traditional communication. Dr. Elena Rodriguez worked frantically at her station, her fingers moving with a precision that seemed almost supernatural. It's not just information, she called out, her voice a mixture of scientific excitement and profound wonder. It's a living network of consciousness. Every interaction changes the fundamental structure of the communication. The Krell representatives, now fully integrated into the Horizon's crew, contributed their unique perspective. Their geometric forms shifted and pulsed, translating complex multidimensional concepts into something the human mind could begin to comprehend. Lieutenant Marcus Wung had developed a visualization system that allowed them to see the communication as it happened, a breathtaking display of interconnected light and energy that danced between multiple dimensions. What had begun as a potential conflict with the Krell Collective had transformed into something far more profound. We're not just receiving a message, Marcus explained, his voice filled with awe. We're participating in a conversation that spans entire civilizations, potentially entire universes. The transmission revealed a network of communication that existed beyond traditional concepts of space and time. It suggested the existence of multiple civilizations that had found ways to connect not through physical travel, but through a complex quantum communication matrix. Lieutenant Kira Nomura suddenly called out, her voice cutting through the intense concentration. Captain, the communication is changing. It's adapting to us. The holographic display erupted with a cascade of geometric patterns that seemed to breathe with living intelligence. It was an invitation, no more than an invitation. It was a recognition of humanity's unique approach to understanding. Most species we've encountered, the Krell representative communicated, seek to conquer or isolate. Humanity does something different. You seek to understand. Captain Reyes stepped forward, understanding now that their mission had become something far greater than exploration. They were becoming bridge builders between different forms of intelligence, different ways of existing. The final transmission came not as words, but as a complex emotional and intellectual experience. It showed humanity's potential, not as conquerors, not as a single species, but as part of a vast, interconnected network of consciousness and potential. "We are not alone," Dr. Elena Rodriguez whispered, tears forming in her eyes. "And we are not limited." The horizon began to transform. The quantum communication device they had developed with the Krell Collective was no longer just a piece of technology. It had become a living bridge between different forms of intelligence, different ways of perceiving reality. As the transmission reached its conclusion, Captain Reyes understood the true nature of their journey. They had not come to explore space. They had come to expand the very concept of understanding. The universe, they realized, was not a place to be conquered. It was a conversation waiting to happen. Humanity's greatest strength was not its technology, not its military might, but its capacity to listen, to adapt, to understand. And in that moment, they were no longer just travelers. They were pioneers of a new way of existing. The end,